Two leaders. Two continents. Two radically different worlds. One emerged from the dusty battlefields of West Africa, a 34-year-old revolutionary soldier who promised to reclaim the sovereignty of a forgotten nation. The other rose from the skyscrapers of Manhattan, a billionaire-turned-populist who vowed to put his country first, no matter the cost. Ibrahim Traoré. Donald J. Trump. At first glance, they seem to share nothing, one in military uniform, the other in a suit and red baseball cap. But look closer, and you'll find something deeper. Both are symbols of rebellion. Both challenge global powers. Both command passionate followings who believe in one thing: their leader is fighting for them. This is not a fight of fists, but of ideologies. This is the battle between Traoré's African sovereignty and Trump's America First. Let's begin with the roots. Ibrahim Traoré was born in 1988 in Burkina Faso, a landlocked country long overshadowed by foreign interests and internal instability. He studied geology, became an officer, and rose quietly through the military. In 2022, as insecurity and jihadist violence plagued his people, Traoré launched a coup, becoming the world's youngest head of state at just 34 years old. He was not backed by billionaires or global institutions. His legitimacy came from the ground, from soldiers, from students, from farmers tired of foreign dominance. His message? Burkina Faso would no longer be a client of empire. It would be sovereign. It would be free. Donald Trump, on the other hand, was born into wealth in 1946 in Queens, New York. He inherited a real estate empire, built a brand, and cultivated fame through television. In 2016, he defied the American political establishment, defeated both Democrats and Republicans, and became the 45th President of the United States. His message? America was no longer respected. It had been sold out by globalists. He would put America first, in trade, in immigration, in war and peace. At the heart of both leaders is one defining principle: nationalism. For Traoré, nationalism means liberation, cutting the colonial cord, ending military dependence on France, kicking out foreign troops, seizing control of Burkina Faso's gold, its land, its narrative. He speaks softly but acts boldly. In 1 year, he expelled French military forces, called out Western media bias, and aligned with like-minded African states like Mali and Niger. To his supporters, Traoré is not just a president, he's a new Sankara. A son of the soil. A soldier of sovereignty. For Trump, nationalism takes another form. It means self-interest over global cooperation. Build the wall. Impose tariffs. Pull out of global treaties. Question NATO. Ban immigrants. Demand loyalty to the flag. He wasn't subtle. He didn't play by the rules. And for millions of Americans, that was exactly the point. Trump's version of nationalism appealed to a nation that felt forgotten: factory workers, small-town conservatives, white voters angry at cultural shifts. They didn't want to hear about diplomacy. They wanted to hear about America. First. Always. What made both leaders rise? A shared enemy, the system. For Traoré, the system was neocolonialism, foreign military bases, foreign-controlled media, IMF loans, mining contracts signed in the shadows. To him, Africa's poverty was not a coincidence, it was engineered. And he had no interest in playing polite politics with those responsible. For Trump, The system was the Washington elite, career politicians, liberal academics, the mainstream press, global corporations. He mocked them, fired them, and tweeted his war against them. In their own countries, both men became symbols of defiance. Traoré banned foreign NGOs that criticized his reforms. Trump banned journalists from the White House. Traoré told Africa to stand tall and stop begging. Trump told America to stand up and stop apologizing. Neither man played it safe. Both men broke the script. Of course, with great defiance comes great division. Traoré's followers, mostly youth, rural citizens, and Pan-Africanists, see him as a modern freedom fighter. In Ouagadougou, his face is painted on walls. In online forums, he's called Africa's last hope. But critics call him a populist in uniform, ruling without elections, muzzling opposition, aligning with authoritarian states like Russia. Trump's base, mostly conservatives, rural Americans, veterans, and evangelicals, see him as a political outsider who gave them a voice. But critics called him a threat to democracy, citing his attacks on institutions, controversial policies on race, and his role in the January 6 Capitol riot. Both leaders are loved and loathed, not for what they hide, but for what they say aloud. In a world full of scripted leaders, Traoré and Trump say the quiet part out loud. Here's where they differ sharply. Traoré's authority comes from the uniform, from commanding respect, not popularity. He governs through transitional military rule. For him, elections can wait. First, the nation must be secured. Trump's power came from the market and the media. He thrived in chaos, on television, through branding. He governed through populism, by rallying his base through spectacle and Twitter storms. Traoré builds military coalitions across Africa, training forces with Mali and Niger. Trump pulled out of global coalitions, mocking allies, attacking trade deals, and pulling America out of agreements like the Paris Climate Accord. Traoré sees global institutions as agents of control. Trump saw them as bad deals, not for humanity, but for America's pocketbook. What will they be remembered for? Traoré's legacy is still unfolding. Will he truly hand over power to civilians, or become another strongman? Will his revolution bring lasting peace, or collapse under pressure? If he succeeds, he could spark a wave of post-colonial awakening across Africa. If he fails, he may prove his critics right, that military rule always ends the same way. Trump's legacy is already being debated in textbooks. He reshaped the Supreme Court, redefined conservative politics, and exposed fractures in American society that still haven't healed. He is running again. And if he wins in 2024 or 2028, he may return even more defiant. The world is watching. One continent sees Traoré as Africa's destiny. Another sees Trump as democracy's test. This isn't about Trump versus Traoré as men. It's about two visions of sovereignty. One born from resistance to foreign occupation. One born from resistance to globalism. One seeking to liberate a continent still scarred by colonization. One seeking to restore a superpower that feels it's been eclipsed. Two leaders. Two ideologies. One world, at a turning point. In the end, the real battle isn't between Trump and Traoré. It's between the past and the future. Between submission and sovereignty. Between empire and self-rule. The question is not who wins between them, but who will win the soul of their nations.